Welcome to the Awakened Human Podcast, the place to be for highly progressive, yet extremely grounded intuitive guidance, energetic support, metaphysical tools, and higher consciousness for highly successful, ambitious, soul-centered visionaries and leaders like you who want to make a global impact and achieve your highest fulfillment by aligning with your soul's true divine agenda and your role in God's plan of lighted creation, and by utilizing your divine gifts, talents, and abilities from the higher realms. We do this by working with the non-physical realms of higher guidance, energy, intuition, and powerful metaphysical tools for healing and transformation. We understand that the real change and transformation that's being called for on planet Earth and in our own lives and our own businesses doesn't come from outside of us, but rather from within. And that the change that we desire to experience in our lives and in our world requires us to change from the inside. I'm your host, Anne Spagna. I'm a best-selling author, spiritual catalyst, intuitive, energy worker, ascension guide, multidimensional channel, animal communicator, visionary, lightworker, and luminary. I have dedicated my entire professional life to helping thousands and thousands of humans and animals all over the world in service and contribution to the light, which is the expansion, the upliftment, the evolution of humanity, to awaken, to uplift, and to align with our true divine source, which exists within each and every one of us. It is my passion, joy, and purpose to share this information, energy, and consciousness with you. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing time with me. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Awakened Enlightened Human podcast with me, Anne Spagna. Today, we're going to chat briefly about energy and vibration. This is a really hot topic for a lot of people in the world these days. A lot of people tend to feel and believe that they are raising their vibration, or they tend to be desiring to raise their vibration. Not everybody understands what it means or how to really do it. So let's dive in today, shall we? So first, let's understand energy and vibration from a human perspective, not so much from the spiritual perspective. We know scientifically, if we believe and agree with Einstein's, I think it was a theory, right? E equals mc squared. The way I translate that, and this is not scientific terms, but energy equals matter in perpetual motion ad infinitum. So in other words, all matter is comprised of energy that is always in motion, and that all matter is compressed energy, right? That the constant continuous flow of energy equals matter. So however you define that, and you can look up the scientific way, but that's basically what it's saying. So if we accept that as true, it is true, then we can understand that everything in our reality is based in energy. And so when someone is saying that they want to raise their vibration, effectively what they're saying, whether they realize it or not, is that they want to improve the quality of the vibration of the energy. They want to improve the quality of the energy where their being is vibrating, right? Because if everything's energy and all matter that is energy is vibrating at a constant, but that constant, that vibratory state in perpetual motion is based on wherever anyone's energetic vibrational signature is, right? So in a sense, if you look at a person in the world, or any person or animal, for demonstration purpose, for understanding, who is really in a lot of pain and suffering of some degree or another, either they're physically unwell or mentally or emotionally really unhappy or unhealthy or unwell, their vibratory state is what we would call very, very dense or very heavy, right? This is what energetically contributes to gravity, to heaviness in their life experience. At the same time, another example is someone who's really emotionally angry or rageful or prone to fighting, or maybe stuck in some form of resentment or grudge. This doesn't make them a bad person. It means that there's energetics in their field that are causing and contributing to these emotional states that they're in, right? Doesn't mean that that's who they are. It's that that's where their energy is. That's where their vibration is. So if you've ever been around someone who's moody or complaining or whining or rude or angry or resentful or judgy or critical, I mean, I've been around people like that. It's never fun. And they likely have other people around them who are like that too, because that's where they're vibrating. And they likely grew up in a family dynamic that was like that because that's where they were vibrating. And they themselves may be trying to get unstuck from that, but the energetics in their field, their vibrational field, their bandwidth is kind of keeping them stuck in a sense, or energetically contained in that field. So then they tend to attract more people into their lives who are like that because that's the vibrational bandwidth where they are. So by contrast, just for contrast's sake, when you have someone who generally is very positive or happy or uplifted or joyful or optimistic or inspired, that's a whole different frequency of energy and a whole different vibrational field that feels much more uplifted and positive. And generally speaking, this person doesn't really want to hang out with this first person, for example. And this person wants to get near that person, but they don't know how, or they can't, or they are challenged by it, right? Because they're bringing all their crap with them and it's weighing down, right? And this is why people want to raise their vibration. Now, let's give another example, because we know that the people over here in this other example that I gave are more happy, more joyful, more positively uplifted, and they're around other people who feel good too. This is just a polarized example, but it makes the point. Now, other examples we could give: someone who's sick or physically unhealthy. That sickness, that physical ill health, is a vibratory state. Usually when there's some form of disrepair or illness in the body, there's been stagnant energy for quite a while. A good example of stagnant energy, for example, is cholesterol. Cholesterol is the buildup of stagnant energy, of feeling stuck or blocked or thwarted. And by the way, cholesterol energetically, as a healer, I know that it's healable. It's a healable issue because we have to remove that stuck, stagnant energy. We have to move the energy and clear the fields. There's lots of ways to do that, but that's another conversation for another time. So the idea is we want to raise our vibration, but if somebody's sick or physically ill or unhealthy and there's so much stagnancy, it gets even harder because the heavier the energy that gets, the more stuck and stagnant, the more shifting has to happen. And potentially, very likely, but not always, it could take more time in terms of linear time. Now, making the shift of the vibratory state in our lives requires us to shift. And we'll talk more about this in future episodes as well. But it requires us to shift mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically. Like we have to shift. It's not just by going and getting a massage. This is what I'm saying. Going and getting a massage can help us to raise our vibration temporarily, but it's a cumulative effect of change that ultimately really raises the vibration. It's not something that gets done once and once only, although each individual effort that we make will certainly contribute. Okay, so I want to just talk about some of the energetic vibratory states that we can all relate to. One of the people who made this really pretty famous was David Hawkins, right? He created the Hawkins scale of map of consciousness, and there's lots of others who've spoken about this. And we understand that the lowest vibrations tend to be somewhere around those energies of the emotions of guilt and shame and grief, right? Those are very dense. And then really also very dense, sadness, depression. Also very dense is things like anger, fear, worry, doubt, disbelief, skepticism, anger, resentment, grudge. Those are down there, right? Then you sort of start getting into sort of more neutral states that are apathy, relief. There's all kinds of scales of this, right? You can even look it up. I mean, when you start getting slightly liberated from overwhelm or anxiety or worry, frustration, irritation, you start getting pessimism, impatience. We get into the more neutral states. That's where I wanted to go. was like neutral states of apathy or just acceptance or tolerance or allowance. And then you kind of elevate a little more to more neutral. Well, I'm relaxed. I'm more accepting. I'm more allowing. I'm more relieved. I'm more peaceful. I'm more calm. Like those are the middle states. Then you start moving it to positive states, and we associate those with things like being contented, being okay, all is well, all is fine. Can kind of move up, and you start to become more hopeful. By the way, one of the things we work with in all of my sacred visionary mentorships is working through these energetics, because we really have to transform. Because what happens is, as you shift, well, let me circle back with that. But then you're in the hope. And what I was going to say was, we anchor in towers of hope. We work with towers of hope, because towers of hope and also towers of gratitude, divine gratitude and divine hope, energetically, we put them around us. We put them in our environments, in our field. We put them around our community. They're energetic. They're not necessarily visible, but they are incredibly powerful, because they're not quite like stretching so far that someone can't get there. They're a little bit higher than above the most neutral. So they are always elevating and supporting and uplifting, and yet they're not forcing someone to stretch beyond their capability when we work with these. But in any case, when we get to the higher frequencies, right, we can associate those higher frequencies with feeling optimistic, feeling enthusiastic, sense of confidence, sense of certainty, sense of courage, overall happiness, feeling empowered, feeling, I said, optimistic, looking forward, full of vitality, full of energy, full of fun, joyful, generosity, feeling joyful, feeling loving, feeling free, and always gratitude, right? Gratitude is one of the highest states, and yet it's an easy to access frequency overall. So that's why we always say gratitude is a building block for more better things. Gratitude is a relatively easy state. That's why we use towers of divine gratitude and towers of divine hope. We also use a lot of towers of divine peace, because even though it's a high frequency, it's an easy frequency to access, right? So I hope this makes sense. These are all energetic frequency bandwidths, and there's more. There's a lot more. But when you think about raising your vibration overall, long term, the idea overall is that what you want to do is a steady and continuous process of your own personal and spiritual growth and development to help you shift, so that over time, the dips into the lower bandwidths become fewer and fewer and less and less. I will say for myself, and I am really grateful for this, really grateful. It has been years. This is the first time I've said this out loud. Years since I have experienced the degree of rage that I once experienced. I mean, easily over 20 years ago, easily. The rage that I had to work through. I don't ever have that anymore. Thank God, right? Thank God. Thank God. I don't ever have experiences of jealousy. I really don't have experiences of extreme anger. I don't ever have like revenge. I have tools now. I don't have, greed is not part of my life. I don't really worry about things. I don't think I ever blame anymore. I'm always recognizing like I'm the creator of my experience in a collaboration with the divine and with the infinite. Right. So I don't worry about things anymore. I have no more worry. That one left a long time ago. And yet I grew up in a family where there's incredible worry. That's in my family lineage. That's a way you express love. Like that's very old paradigm. To worry is to love, right? You know that story of like the Jewish mother who always worries. Now, I don't come from a Jewish historical background, but my point is it's the archetypical pattern, right? So I'm not trying to typecast. So the idea is that as we evolve, and this is what I was saying earlier, as we work on raising our vibration over time, because it is a process, we dip into the lower frequencies, the so-called negative energies, less and less and less. And eventually Yeah, we just stop. We're not playing in that field anymore, that field of energy. And so when we don't play in that field of energy, we become more and more immune to those energies, and we become less and less vulnerable to them. We become stronger, and then we have more to offer to our world and our community because we become more of the essence of who we truly are. What's the essence of who we truly are? We truly are love. We truly are joy. We truly are freedom inside. We truly are the expression of gratitude. We truly are infinitely abundant, infinitely generous, infinitely empowered, infinitely joyful and loving. We have so much of these higher, pure frequency states within us. They're not just emotional states. They're energetic frequencies of how it feels to be the expression of these pure high frequency bandwidths, and that they are moving in and through us and resonating from within us and around us. And so that as we become that, our environment is affected and the people around us are affected, and we can serve and contribute better to the people and to the animals in the world. And the people and the animals in our lives who we so care about and so love, we become a positive force, a positively uplifting force. So the idea is raising your vibration is not just so you can feel good for a day by going out and getting a massage. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And raising your vibration is not just so you can spend more time with nicer people, although that's definitely nice too. It's so you can free and liberate yourself from the pain and suffering, because anger does not feel good. Look, there's nothing wrong with processing emotions. There is nothing wrong with utilizing emotions. In my intuitive development classes and in my sacred visionary mentorship, I teach people how to use our emotions because they are all serving us. But please don't be confused. Emotions are energy, and they are not yours. They are energy. So you can play in the field of energy, of dense, heavy emotions, or you can play in the field of energy that are your choice. And if you want to be angry, by all means, please do. There are cause-effect relationships of that. If you want to be resentful, by all means, go ahead. But that's not really serving you. And I know if you're here, that's not what you want. So we work with those, we process them, we don't deny them, we don't pretend they're not there, but we recognize that over time, not that much time, some time, we process through them and we become elevated out of them and we become uplifted. We no longer need to engage with those. They no longer serve us. We utilize them how they're meant to serve us. We receive the guidance from them because they are forms of guidance. There is a reason for them. And then as we transmute them, we literally are more and more raising our frequency and our vibration so that we can play and embody the higher frequencies. And we do this, when I say over time, we're literally working with energy to transmute it. So that doesn't mean we don't go out and get massages. That doesn't mean we don't. Of course, we do those things. We go out, we get massages, we go for walks, we sit in nature, we swim, we play, we dance with the enjoyment of the physical pleasure because joy and enjoyment raises vibration. But we also work with the density, with the energetics to transmute them wholly and completely, because everybody knows you could go out for 1,000,000 massages and you can go out for 1,000,000 walks in nature. But if you don't transmute that density within you, you could still come home and have a fight and an argument with your neighbors or your spouse, or you can still have problematic things happen in your world and it can default, right? The anger, the lower energies can still be the default. What we're talking about is completely transforming the default so that your core frequency, which is the vibratory state that emits in and through you, completely transforms so that you get up leveled to the higher, purer frequencies. And so that you no longer attract those lower frequencies to you unless it's just to be of service in a way that's good and right to another. And in that case, you're able to help without getting really negatively affected at all, for the most part. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this is helpful. We talk about energy shifting energy, raising vibration. This is essentially what we're talking about. And while there are wonderful practices that we all know about, yes, go take a beautiful bath with sea salt or Himalayan salt or your favorite kind of flower essence, organic essential oil, put on some music, a candle, write music. Of course, that is a way to raise your vibration. Of course, go get the massages you need. Of course, take the time in nature that you need. Of course, do all those wonderful things. Those are things in the physical world that definitely help, and we don't negate that. Of course, eat high vibration foods that are made of nature, that are organic, that are natural, not genetically modified, not artificial. Of course, take high vibe supplements if they're right and appropriate for you, in your body, like all those things. Yes, yes, yes. And let's work with the energetics that are way deeper than just mental and emotional. They're the energetics in the field of your totality of who you are, which we know is much more than just a human, just more than just a body, so much more, your energy fields. We'll talk about that more in episodes to come, the multidimensional nature of who you are. So stay tuned for that. But for now, I'm going to wrap it. I hope this has been helpful to you. As always, please take what serves you, use it and apply it for your most benevolent best. It is my joy, passion, and pleasure to share this information, energy, and consciousness with you. I hope it's been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much for being here and sharing time and space with me. I love you. See you next time. Farewell for now. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening today. If you loved the show and if you benefited in any way, if it helped you to up-level or expand your consciousness, if you gained any new insights or ideas, if it made you think or become more aware, or if there were some strategies or intuition that you may have benefited from in any way, would you please do me 2 easy and simple favors? First, if you would be willing to leave a review, it would mean the world to me. I'd be so grateful. And second, if you're willing to share this show with anyone else who would benefit, you can either post it on your social media or just email it to someone and share it with another person or any other people. It would be so awesome. This kind of thing is so helpful in expanding consciousness on the planet and helping others to benefit from this kind of teaching, which just simply isn't generally readily available in the mainstream. So sharing it really helps others benefit and helps our planet evolve and awaken. Plus, expressing gratitude and generosity in this way will also expand your capacity to give and receive even more. Either way, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for participating and for sharing, and overall, just for being the magnificent, the spectacular, the brilliant, the fabulous, the wonderful you that you truly are, and for allowing yourself to be the very best version of you today and every day. All my love and gratitude to you.